Yeah. Well, listen, I will say this.
He's like, yeah, Nick Fuentes, wouldn't that be crazy? And Joe's like, actually, yeah. I'm like, what do you mean?
Give us a good one.
Oh, this was crazy. Okay. Joe Rogan and Shane Gillis did a pod. And in the podcast, Shane Gillis, I think, jokingly refers to Nick Fuentes as the next president. And Joe Rogan, not so jokingly, jumps on the statement as a, great idea. Okay. Where is it? Hold on. Let me see if Gillis gives a shocking example as a joke. Rogan takes it completely sincerely and goes on a diatribe about groyperism. And the internet comes away thinking Shane is a Christian nationalist. This is a perfect distillation of Joe Rogan. He fundamentally misunderstands comedic instincts, soapboxes about how he's a victim, and somehow still shapes the narrative via pure art. Oh, that scared me. I thought she was throwing up. Via pure R-wordation, he controls reality. Now, I don't know if it's a joke or not, so we'll see. But I did see this clip.
War.
You'd think we'd have more presidents. The Catholics.
Yeah, they only had one.
Biden,
right?
too.
Oh, Biden's Catholic.
We got Biden.
Allegedly.
True. We only got one. They got
Allegedly. Yeah, Biden's not a real Catholic.
shot, and then Biden was doing auto sign. Give us a good one.
Yeah. You got anybody in mind?
Fuentes.
Nick Fuentes? He could probably win in a few years.
Hold on, let's talk.
Listen, he couldn't have existed before, right? 10, 20 years ago, couldn't have existed. Now, super popular. What's 20 years from now look like? Maybe someone like that can win.
Well, we'll see.
Aim for that, bro. He's like clearly laughing. He's like, yeah, Nick Fuentes, wouldn't that be crazy? And Joe's like, actually, yeah. I'm like, what do you mean? Like, Shane Gillis brings it up as like, how funny would that be? And then Joe's like, no, actually, that's good. That's actually a good idea. We should do that.
I gotta pee so bad. We gotta wrap this up anyway.
I'm
sorry,
down.
4:18.
We got that one at the buzzer.
Yeah. Well, listen, I will say this about it. It's fascinating.
I like that instead of wrapping it up, he's like, let me talk about it a little bit further, just so people do not mistake my fascination with Nick Fuentes as, me going along with what Shane presented as like a possible threat to American democracy. Let me explain to you how I mean it.
Watch that. There's like a whole group of people that feel very unrepresented in the world, and especially like young men. And here you got this young guy with a very high verbal IQ, and he also does a lot of shit posting, a lot of talking shit, a lot of trolling, says women shouldn't be allowed to vote, says wild shit. And that Piers Morgan thing is like, bro, that was like an expert sparring with someone who thought they were an expert.
Sure.
Like they're playing two totally different games.
And it's also the thing that people try to get Fuentes on is that he's still funny as
funny.
So that's where you're in a lot of trouble.
When he hits him, do you think you made jokes about the Holocaust? He goes, too soon.
The reason that many people think you're anti-Semitic is that you have regularly downplayed the Holocaust, and in particular the number of Jewish people who were murdered by the Nazis. It's been said that you believe no more than several 100,000 have been killed. And I want to play you this clip.
People talk about, what about the gas chambers? Well, to the extent that that's real, I find that hard to believe, but to the extent that's real, there have been atrocities committed and genocides committed in all.
Wow, he's so woke. He's actually doing he's actually saying like the nobody cares about what King Leopold did. He's woke Fuentes, dude. Yeah, this is the new dark woke meta.
All times and all places. Let's acknowledge why Hitler casts the long shadow. Because that confers a political benefit upon Jews. That's why.
It doesn't really sound correct to me. Wait a second. It takes 1 hour to cook a batch of cookies, and you have 15 ovens, probably in 4 different kitchens, right? Doing 24 hours a day, every day for 5 years. How long would it take you to make 6 million? I don't know. It certainly wouldn't be 5 years, right? The math doesn't seem to add up there.
You think that's funny?
It's funny. It's amusing what you're doing because, that one was a joke. But do you want to talk seriously about the Holocaust?
I do, actually. I do, because I just find it extraordinary that you would think the Holocaust could ever be something that we could joke about.
Why, too soon? Is it too soon to make jokes?
How many people do you think died in the Holocaust? How many Jewish people?
I don't know. I'm thinking maybe 7 million. What's the number? 6 million, something like that?
So you
8 million?
You concede that 6 million Jews died in the Holocaust?
Possibly more. Possibly, we're discovering all the time. So it could maybe even be more than that.
So why have you doubted the numbers?
Yeah, he's doing a 6'7" meme, and you dumb fucks are literally hitting it. And I mean, this is it. This is the whole point, right? You can't when you argue and debate with fascists like and Holocaust revisionists and shit, like they're going to have an entirely separate set of bullshit facts that they will draw from, and it's a deep well because there have been years and years, just like the Lost Cause, just like the the Daughters of the Confederacy. They took that L and then they never let go of it, and for years and years and years they concocted whatever narrative they could in an effort to downplay it, and also simultaneously, like it's not as serious. Because if you're a Jewish person that's been taught about this, mechanized version of death that Jews experienced, like it's and you have immediate relatives in your family that were around when that shit was happening still, right? It's going to obviously invoke a sense of emotion. But if you're a Nazi, you could just like joke around about it. It doesn't matter. And the moment that you can joke around about it, and the other side can't because they take it, seriously, then you lost the argument technically because you got emotional.
Like, dude. And you could see
He's wild.
You could see Piers going, oh,
Bro, when he was like, me mom died. I was like, holy shit.
bro, he got hit. He got hit with a missile on that one.
Before people go, oh my God, how are they saying this? For the record, Nick Fuentes is not trolling when he says that shit. But you have to understand, most people don't have the same social investment that you do towards like being tolerant to marginalized groups. Okay. You need to understand this. You need to snap out of your bubble. It's the same with like people who make George Floyd jokes over and over again. I don't think that shit's funny at all. Okay. I don't think that shit's funny at all. And yet, according to some of the dumbest right-wingers on the planet, it's all the laughs, okay? It's the most funny thing that they've ever encountered. And bro, stop defending Shane already, come on. There's no defense of Shane Gillis here at all. I'm simply explaining to you what is going on in the world, okay? What is going on in America? A big part of the reason why this is now considered another thing to laugh about is partially because the right wing totally dominated the whole like, oh, the left is being annoying woke scolds over and over and over again. They nonstop hammered that point over and over and over again, while they were also being annoying woke scolds themselves. But they were able to successfully make this like the left's, self-identified movement. And ironically enough, a lot of people on the left did contribute to this because they were like, yeah, no, we are woke scolds actually. And a lot of people on the left also do present this as like their number one issue. Right wingers don't do that. They complain all the time, but then when called into question whether or not they're being woke scolds, they go, oh, how dare you? No, of course not. We're not woke scolds at all. We would never do that. Okay. Liberals don't do that. Rad libs, liberals, leftists, we love adopting that framing and adopting that identity. We don't even want to lie about it. At least the right wingers lie about it. They don't give a shit about hypocrisy. They lie about it all the time. Yeah, but you think Charlie Kirk jokes are hilarious, law, which so do I, law, but that kind of ruins the point. Brother, I have never, ever made it seem as though I was in any way, shape, or form playing civility politics. My most famous moment that has been posterized in the last New York mayoral race was saying
America deserved 9/11, dude. Fuck it. I'm saying it. We fucking totally brought it on ourselves, dude. Holy shit. We did. We fucking did. In a video game.
The fuck are you talking about? The fuck? For me, what matters a lot more is your worldview, your policies, what you think responsible governance looks like, how we improve people's lives. Okay? There's never been a moment where I've been like, oh wow, we just gotta really reconsider this shit. But you need to understand, it is a more consistent position on the right, partially for this reason. And a lot of right-wingers don't understand. The ones that like still want to go back to the old days of like, at least like leaning into anti-Semitic memes, but not having that affect America's unshakable relationship with Israel, want to basically put the toothpaste back in the tube. They want to do a version of like woke where you can only be woke about Jewish people, but you can be the least woke about everybody else. It's not going to fucking work. It's just not going to work at all. Wikipedia defines your version of leftism as scumbag left. No, dirtbag left. That's what it is. And yes, dirtbag leftism, which is so stupid. Again, it's identified on like what you think is funny versus like what your actual fucking worldview is. It's so stupid. Or how invested you are in terms of changing policy around like how to command language or compel language. I don't give a shit about that much. I care about it as long as it actually reveals your ideology, your actual worldview, or how much you are invested in dehumanizing entire groups of the population. That's it.
Too soon? Too soon, I was like, oh my God.
But in any case, the reason why, like, the thing is, I'll give you context, right? If Adam Friedland said that because as an anti-Zionist Jew, he went on Piers Morgan, and Adam Friedland was the one who said too soon to someone talking about the Holocaust, everyone would fucking laugh. Everyone in this community would laugh. But because we know Nick Fuentes' background, and because when he says it, he actually fucking means it, right? And he actually is doing this as a point of propaganda to expand the permission structure on what can and can't be said, especially with a more nefarious agenda to tie everything back to like some kind of Jewish control conspiracy, right? Come for Hassan. Please stop dying on the joke hill. You have to learn not to get upset with jokes. You were just making the left less probable to win next election. Wait, what? No, I'm not. I'm saying that same thing. I'm saying that context is what matters. People's personal background is what matters. People's ideology is what matters. That's the point I'm making. The reason why when Nick Fuentes says that, even though he has good comedic timing, which is what they're simply talking about here, the reason why it's dangerous when he does that, the reason why it's dangerous to platform Nick Fuentes in general, and now it's a complete fucking lost cause, is because contextually he's doing that for a specific reason, and that reason is to expand the permission structure on cutting out Jews as non-white from the broader American understanding. But that's the point. And for Joe Rogan to go on and be like, yeah, this is actually pretty brave, pretty bold, pretty beautiful. I hate that shit. The reason why I don't appreciate Joe Rogan's analysis here is because he's taking it sincerely. Like Shane could have brought it up to be like, haha, isn't that crazy that a fucking Nazi could like run for president? I don't even know how that would work. Wouldn't that be bad? And then Joe's like, yeah, he has great comedic timing and I think he'd be really dangerous. It's basically just like another step in the direction of potentially having Nick Fuentes go on the Joe Rogan experience. Why? How come you never went on Joe? Brother, what are you talking about? There will never be a moment where he will have... I've shit on Joe Rogan far too much for him to ever have me on. Anyway, speaking of which, let's see. Joe Rogan, socially, I'm left on almost everything. If someone comes along to the left that is an objective, sensible person that's making sense on like immigration, foreign policy, then I'm still
along from the left that is an objective, sensible person that's making sense of life.
And for the record, Kyle Kalinske used to be a big Joe Rogan guy. He used to get invited on Joe Rogan quite a bit. And if you notice, he's no longer invited to Joe Rogan, and that's probably because he's been criticizing Joe Rogan.
All right, guys. I think it happened. I think Rogan has finally broke me. I think I finally snapped. I don't know how much longer I can deal with shit like this, bro. I really don't know. Here's a clip that went kind of viral on Twitter, 1.2 million views. And the clip, my understanding of it, I haven't watched the full thing yet, but I saw some of the text. It's just him shitting on Tim Walz. Shitting on Tim Walz and talking about how much he's opposed to liars in politics. All right.
Like if Kamala died and Tim Walz, Tampon Tim, was our fucking president, you know how crazy this country would be? That weirdo who puts tampons in the boys' room, and what about our joy?
That was a lie. That whole story was a fucking lie. See, this goes to show you his media diet is fucking abysmal. Like, all he does is look at right-wing Twitter and listen to right-wing podcasts and thinks that these people are serious and they care about accuracy and they care about facts. That story was debunked literally within a day. That story was debunked. You know what he actually did? He got tampons in the girls' bathroom, also known as just a good policy. He has the worst case of confirmation bias I've ever seen. He just has online right-wing brainworms, and if something fits in with the narrative he likes and agrees with, that's it. He's done. That's why there's been 47 examples within the past year or two of him saying something ridiculous, And Jamie's got to be like, actually, Joe, that's not true. I just looked it up.
Joe Rogan does not like when people shit on him. Okay, he understands how much power and how much influence he has. He's not invested in offering that platform to people that are going to be reasonable in their critique. He wants dick riders. He wants dick riders through and through. That's it.
Like immigration, foreign policy, then I'm still left.
Right.
I'm still the same
Yeah, me
person.
too.
I'm still because socially I'm left on almost everything. The hard right is to me just like the hard left. The crazy fucks that are out there on the fringes, and they sort of define the left and define the right for everybody. Like you define the right by like white supremacists, KKK. You define the left by Antifa. Like Jesus Christ, most people are like right here.
Sure.
Most people are like, I just want rules and law and everybody be kind and healthy and a prosperous society and no pollution. And I feel like we could all work together and do a better job of all these different things.
But like Jordan Peterson says, who's like my favorite human in the world. I love him so much. But he was saying like it's really easy to identify and rebuke the far right. Like we're very good at identifying it and going, I disavow or whatever the term is. We don't want that.
Yeah.
But then with the left, the very extreme left, we kind of celebrate it and we post it and we brag about it and we go, look how good I am.
I think they thought we have thugs. I think that it's one of those things. And
I'm against the far left.
It's the bullies.
I love motherfuckers who just hit this like enlightened centrist route where it's like, one, where is the far left? Does the far left have a fraction of power? Two, what is the far left? Because if you were to say someone like myself represents the far left, right, as many do on the internet, what are the immediate tangible policy goals that I have that you fucking disagree with? No more senseless military conquest all around the fucking globe. No more imperial domination. Take the fucking revenues that we've generated so far and spend it on Americans to rebuild our infrastructure, to have a government jobs guarantee, a federal jobs program, building unlimited fucking social housing, free healthcare, free college education. Wow, the fucking far left. How terrifying. America is one of the countries on the planet that is actually capable of doing this because we have all the fucking money. And we are the country that stops others from engaging in this kind of endeavor. If you sincerely talk to a person of the far left variety and you dig into their positions, you dig into their immediate solutions to some of these problems, okay, it becomes very stupid because on the far right, it's easy to identify the far right and actually admonish or disagree with the far right because the fucking far right is running on making this a white nationalist country, which revolves around the eradication of non-white people. Whiteness as a concept is already like not very well defined. Is it based on skin color? Is it based on cultural attitudes? Is it based on religion? We don't know. It's currently being led by, a bunch of non-white people, unironically. So we don't even know fully what that would look like. But let's say it's just about like, purging the boundaries of the state from all the Hispanic population or whatever. Like, how is that? Is that something you agree with? Is that something you identify as an issue personally? Do you agree with that? Why do you agree with that? What kind of problems are the Latino population on U.S. soil creating for Americans in general? What kind of problems is the black population in America creating in general? Are those problems related to the structural hurdles that they must overcome? The structural inequalities such as abject poverty, for example. Is that the reason? Is that the reason why there is crime potentially in these communities? And that is the main point of contention here. When you ask someone like myself, I'm very open about my worldview. I'm very open about what I want to do, what I want to accomplish. And that's perhaps the reason why a lot of these guys have a harder time identifying what the issue is with the fucking far left. Because when people ask those questions and the far left answers those questions, all of a sudden they find themselves in fucking agreement with the far left. These are the type of things that I don't think Joe Rogan would be against, right? So they have to create a bastardized version of what they think the far left actually is, okay? Oh, we have to trans every single person by force, or everyone has to be gay. Everyone has to be woke at gunpoint or some shit like that. That's it.
I don't hate them. And I think I actually sort of understand them in a weird way. I think that because I've studied a lot of their politics, I think I really kind of know them in a way. And it doesn't come from a place of hatred.
Do you have any Jewish friends?
I do. I have many, yes.
Well, that's weird because you said this.
Jews and Christians have never been friends, ever. Not since Jesus Christ.
Oh, he got his ass. Oh, that was good. That was good. Listen. That's that classic nasty ass British journalist move right there. Oh my God, that was okay. I can't believe I'm handing Piers his flowers here. That was that was funny. That's a good clip.